Welcome to Thesaurus Thursday. I'm really excited to have everybody join us. We are going to be diving in on some pretty awesome stuff. So, well, hopefully, we'll see. I'm also going to be talking a little bit about a really, really exciting event that's coming up that starts on tomorrow. And so we'll be talking about that a little bit later. So stick around, don't go anywhere. And that is a very special 100 hours of writing on that is a Twitch special. So stick around and wait for the updates on that. That'll be in a little bit. So welcome everybody to, gosh, we're like halfway through. Can you believe it? I was writing through my notes, trying to get as much of my thoughts down as possible. And I looked down and I'm like, we're only like 3 days away from being halfway done. And I am definitely not halfway where I want to be, but I also know that I get a lot of my writing done during these live shows and during the weekends, so I'm not too worried about it. But man, it just, you blink and it's like, Nano, so quick. So, all right. So we do have as you know, it's Thursday, and one of my favorite things to do is to go on to Thesaurus. And I am one of the crazy people that actually goes into, if you browse all the way down to the bottom, there's browse the thesaurus, and I'll actually pick and choose a letter and go in and browse through it. I do the same thing with the dictionary, and I've found some really interesting words that way that I definitely think we need to bring back. And that is a show in and of itself. And maybe I will share that with you guys. Some of my favorite words when we finally get done with NaNo. Maybe that'll be during our thank goodness it's over special. We can go over some fun words that I personally think we need to bring back. We can definitely do that. I think that'll be really fun. If you have a letter that you want to see, go ahead and post it into the chat, and we can certainly see about adding in and going in that direction too. I am kind of stalling just a tad bit because I wanted to see if anybody else is joining us to give them enough time to come in. But we will be starting our very first sprint shortly. You know how I like to start my first sprints, and that is short, sweet, to the point. And normally my first sprint is only a 5-minute sprint, but it's just meant to get the juices going. And so we will go ahead and I will get things together to get things sorted so that I need to put on my timer. Would help if I started that earlier. Forgot to do that. All right, 5 minutes. All right, got that ready for us. Let's do, because my name starts with a C, let's see what kind of C words we can do. There's some interesting words already that pops out at me, like cabal and caliber. Let's see what else we have. Cagey, caboose. Some interesting words. Cahoolery. Ooh, I kind of like that word, cahoolery. I don't know what it means. We might have to look into that one later. All right, calculus, caldera. That makes me think of lava. All right, I think Calvary is also another good word. I like to try to find a word for our sprints that has like lots of different things you can do with it. And so that's why I'm like, I like to see what's coming up. Okay, let's do, yeah, this is a good one. Let's do camp. Camp is a good word. All right, and I'm just going to go ahead and grab a lot of the synonyms, and I'm going to put it onto here. I think this will be a really great first prompt. Prompt 1, we're going to do camp, and I will switch over to share my screen so that way we can talk a little bit about the words that we are going to be able to use. Now, if you've been to one of our virtual write-ins before, we do a thing called Thesaurus Thursday, and you can do it any way you want to. The way I like to do it is I try to fit in as many of these words into one little paragraph as I can. You don't have to do it that way. You could, if you wanted to, concentrate on maybe something that's specific to your current work in progress. Some people choose to do it as just a flesh out exercise for maybe working on one of their characters, or maybe fleshing out something like a location or a scene. So you can do all of those things. You can choose one word. You could choose a bunch of words. It is completely, if you just wanted to go off of the definition of camp and write about that, that is completely acceptable. There's no wrong way to nano. So I just go to town whenever we start this. So we got camp. We have our definition of camp as an adjective is consciously affecting the unfashionable, weird, or bizarre. Okay, that I could see that. So that's like campy comedy, which I'm totally a fan of. So that is totally acceptable. I think immediately of Whose Line Is It Anyways? One of the best improv shows ever, but that's just my personal opinion. Does not reflect the opinions of NaNo and all of that, but yeah, they're pretty awesome. As a noun, camp would be a site for outdoor living, so which is, I think, what you think of when you think of a traditional camp. You think of the site for outdoor living. And for those that don't know, there's also an extra special NaNo camp that reference that I should probably mention, which is every April and July, we have Camp NaNoWriMo. And so if you wanted, you could also write about Camp NaNoWriMo. If that is what you want to write about, go for it. So let's go ahead and start our first 5-minute sprint. And as I said, this is just to get the juices going, and there's no wrong way to do it. So let's go ahead and we're going to start 5 minutes and begin. Oh, and there it is. Let's go ahead. It has been 5 minutes, and those ones always go so quick. I say this every time. You guys are probably already sick of me saying it. Yes, I know. It goes so quickly, though, every time. I love it, though. It's so good to when something you're like, I got some really good things down that I really wanted to write about, and who would have thought that a word like camp would get me to write about one of my alphas? Who knew? I didn't even know before this live virtual write-in started that I was going to write about that, and look at that. So yeah, I gotta have fun with it, I never really know what I'm gonna write about until I am in these shows with you guys. So as I'm writing, you are seeing the thought process come out. So and I actually have a really cool, I tried to set up some really cool characters in this new work in progress that I'm working with. And one of the really, really neat characters, I wanted to make sure that in this particular village that I have the main people that are leaders all be women of color. So that was something that was very important to me because I always try for diversity, but not just diversity for diversity's sake. It's just that's how I picture them, as these beautiful, strong, fierce women. Like seeing Black Panther and some of the wonderful warrior women in that movie. It's everything that I want. And so that's exactly what I think of when I think of these, the leaders of the main tribe. And so being able to think about how they're going to come off and being able to, I have one character who she actually weaves her hair into these intricate designs that ends up in these beautiful braids and different kinds, and has different things weaved into it that sparkle and shine. And so trying to figure out the best way to write that is really interesting. But also her co-alpha, her partner, is also a strong, beautiful Black woman, and she has completely different hair. She has this thick, beautiful, gorgeous hair that is just thick, and she tends to have it all curly and natural without having she doesn't have any of the braids, so it's just that natural thick curl that's just absolutely gorgeous. So by doing the two different types of hairstyles, hopefully I can start making creating two very diverse characters that are different from each other by showing their personalities through their choice of how they wear their hair. Because I know that that is something, I mean, even in our culture here, like hair is an extension of ourselves, right? So I dye my hair red currently. I've dyed it all bunch of natural colors because I do have a regular 9 to 5, so I can't do anything too crazy. But I tell you what, I cannot wait until there is a day where I am no longer stuck with natural colors, because I am definitely gonna have the rainbow. But I think that hair is very much a part of who we are, and so oftentimes I use hair color and hairstyles and how how the characters choose to do those things as clues to their personalities. The one that the alpha that wears her hair in intricate box braids and cornrows going into each one of the things, she's a very meticulous person, and she's very kind of prim and proper, and she is very much by the rule book. And the other one, her co alpha, she is a little bit more free spirited. And so that's why I chose for her the loose curls. And although she might still put certain things into her hair and stuff like her partner does, having those two different types of styles, I think, reflects each of their personalities very, very well. And those are just little small things that I can do to add, so that way they're not just flat characters. I hate flat characters. And so, but interesting enough, while I was writing this last prompt, we were doing a thing on camp, and I talked about strength. And so I think that is actually a really good segue into what our second prompt is actually going to end up being. So let me go ahead and move over into here. You should be seeing my screen. And so our prompt 2, and this one's going to have a little bit, you're going to have a little bit of a longer time. We're going to have a 10-minute sprint for this one. But it is going to be, what, in your opinion, is strength? And I thought at first this was, I don't know, when I first saw it, I thought maybe this is kind of a dumb prompt. But then the more and more I thought about it, I'm like, no, this is a good prompt. There's so many different ways that you could show strength, and that you could talk about strength. And maybe we'll talk a little bit more about those types of things afterwards, maybe after you guys get a chance to do some writing and see what you come up with. I have an idea automatically in my head right now, so I'm really stoked to go ahead and give it a go. So let's go ahead. We got 10 minutes on the clock, and let's dive in. What, in your opinion, is strength? And go. Oh, and there it is, 10 minutes. Had to rush in that last part. I couldn't get to it because I meandered a little bit more, and then we got to where I do that a lot though. I meander because you never know where a scene's gonna take you. When you are someone like me, which is I'm definitely a pantser when it comes to these scenes. I don't know exactly where I'm gonna go, but you know, we just kind of are all on the same journey together. So but I did want to talk about strength, and hopefully, if you guys get a chance to put something into the chat, if you are watching us live, or if you're not watching us live and you're in the comment section, please feel free to write about what you thought. What is strength? I think that I really do like that as a prompt. In your opinion, what is strength? Strength to me can have so many different things, especially in our daily lives right now. We're dealing with we're dealing with an insane timeline. If we are in a weird, like, Matrix style, like, video game, someone is in the simulator and just like dropping murder hornets and, like, you know, I'm sure tornadoes and all types of crazy stuff because 2020 is not even over yet. So I think that there is many different examples of strength within our own community, dealing with the pandemic and dealing with the divisive nature of some of the politics that we've seen. All of those things can show strength. Within our families, we see people that are having tough conversations, and we have others who are finding the strength and courage to maybe come out or to speak whatever their truth is. There are people that their strength is getting up every day, rain or shine, and just going to work, because that can be really, really tough when you're dealing with everything. So there is a lot of different things that maybe some other people don't see as strengths, but I do. I see them as strengths because it is not easy to deal with what we are dealing with, and I think everybody should acknowledge that we are all dealing with some really insane things right now. And so that's my initial thoughts on strength, is that strength can be subtle. It can be something that does not seem like it is a big thing, like the mom that wakes up every day and makes her child breakfast every morning, even though she just came home from a long overnight shift at, say, maybe the ER as a nurse or something along those lines, or the teachers that we have that are dealing with the COVID and the kids going back in to schools and things like that, and finding the strength to come up with these curriculums and things is really amazing. And being flexible enough to have to change to online learning and things like that. So I think strength can come in so many different ways, and that's why initially I thought, this is kind of a lame prompt. But then when I was thinking about it, I was like, no, you can find strength in different things and different people. It could be the really tough, strong. What was it? It was like there's a really, really strong spider web, one of the strongest, like tensile strength or something, per, like, its size or whatever. And they're actually like trying to like genetically engineer these these spiders and the web and stuff to make really, really tough materials and high tensile strength. There's some very fascinating technology that's being created right now. So there's so many different ways. I'm excited to hear about what you guys decided to choose to write about because, as I said, there's so many different ways you could go with strength. And yeah, heads up to all the people out there that are the health workers and the teachers and the police officers and firefighters and all of the people out there that are working their butts off during this pandemic. And I'll stop talking about that crazy stuff because you're here for a distraction. And I do have more distractions ready for you. And I'm going to do this by switching gears. Okay. Now, normally we would choose another thesaurus since it's Thesaurus Thursday, but I want to switch gears because I was just talking about something that was mildly depressing. 2020 is crazy. So we're going to switch gears to something more positive because we want to hashtag spread joy, right? So let me switch over again to present and we can go over our next prompt. All right. Prompt 3. And this is going to be a little longer. It's going to be about 10. No, I think, hold on, let me look at the thing. No, excuse me. This one's going to be 15 minutes. I want you to write about what is the best compliment you have ever received. I like it. That's something that's positive. And, you know, again, I would like to say that it does not necessarily need to be you personally. Remember, this is a prompt that you can use for your writing. So in your work in progress, maybe you have one of your characters compliment another character. What would be the best compliment that one of your characters has received? And how do they take compliments? Like, do they accept compliments pretty well, or are they maybe like not the best when it comes to compliments? Or maybe your character's not very good at giving compliments. There's so many different ways that you could take this as well. And regardless of your genre, there really is a lot to work with. And so we're going to switch our mood and our mentality, and we're going to compliment town, okay? So what is the best compliment you've ever received? Let's work on this for 15 minutes, and we are talking about you, your work in progress, your characters, things like that. So, and 15 minutes and go.
probably shouldn't. I tried to leave you once. Well, you know I just couldn't. My love is strong. You know I can't restrain it. I don't believe it's wrong, even though I can't explain it. If you believe it's a sin, I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive it. We only get this life we're in, and I think we owe it to ourselves to live it, yeah. I love you, baby, though I can't command it. I wanna squeeze your sugar till you tell me that you just can't stand it. When we're apart, you know I'm driven to distraction. I get a heavy heart thinking about a little midnight action. If you didn't exist, my mind would do gymnastics trying to invent you. And on Sunday morning I pump my fist and thank the Lord above that he sent you, yeah. I love you, baby, and though I don't recommend it, the rule that keeps me from you might not break, but I think I'm gonna bend it. If you wanna drop by, you know my back door's open. Just tell a little white lie, might not work, but again, here's hoping. If I don't get to see you real soon, I might just lose my capacity for reason. You like hunting duck, my dear, some say it tastes a little better when it's not in season. I love you, baby, although I probably shouldn't. I tried to leave you once. Well, you know I just couldn't. My love is strong. You know I can't restrain it. I don't believe it's wrong, even though I can't explain it. If you believe it's a sin, I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive it. We only get this life we're in. I think we owe it to ourselves to live it, yeah. Live it, yeah. Live it, yeah. Live it, yeah.
The grains and cracks of gray beneath my feet were smooth and dark the day they were laid down. The tan lines and white flakes heed their sheath. When I first wore these boots, they were even brown. The wear is on this world, you see it now. Stepping back in fear when our paths cross. The distance we carve with the furrow plow. Though we till no soil, leaving love to gather moss. But we don't have to live here. Love leads turns down the leafless land again. The hardened ground line like a puzzle's cracks. I swear I see the fruit hanging here when I close my eyes and run the future's tracks. We will not remain here. We need no barren sand. Plant that garden grows. Take me by the hand. Love is my road back to you. Breaking our stone hearts in two. Let joy and despair wash on you. Love is my road back to you. Watching the haze turn to atmosphere. I swear our heartbeats will bring us here. We don't have to live here. Love needs no fallow land. Plant that mustard seed. Take me by the hand. Love is my road back to you. Breaking our stone hearts in two. Let joy and despair wash on you. Love is my road back to you.
All right, so that was 15 minutes. You know what I'm gonna say, right? Oh my gosh, that went so fast. It's always the first thing I say. Because it is, it always is. It's always so fast. I'm like, oh, I was really getting into it too, right? This is a new scene. I haven't written about this character. This character, Yoki. I think that's how I'll pronounce her name. We'll see. Yoki means rain. And it's on my list. I have a list of names that I can on my actual board here that I have set up. Let's see. Yeah. I have a board set up here. Yep, there we go. And so I have lists of names and stuff like that. And Yoki is one of them, and so that was really helpful to kind of look over to the side and say, what type of person would this be? I like the fact that her name means rain, and she's a healer, and she's also someone that she's going to have a very interesting scene with one of our other characters over at the waterfall, which is, I think, pretty apropos. I think that's kind of cool. So it turned out pretty neat, I think. Let's talk about, we can talk a little bit about characters and like interesting, fun little metaphors and symbolism and stuff like that. Whenever I am thinking about characters, I do think of things like that. So as soon as I decided that I was going to name my character Yoki, which means rain, I knew I wanted her to have I wanted her to have some sort of interaction with one of my characters that had to do with a waterfall of some sort. I also think it's important too. Water is such a great metaphor because it can be flexible. It also has this amazing strength. Water is something like there are literal water lasers that slice through metal and wood and stone and all of that stuff. There's laser cutters that are made of water jets and stuff like that. So water is both strong and yet delicate, and it can both burn you and freeze you. There's so many different things, and so I think that it is whenever I'm thinking of water names and things like that, I like thinking about those things. So hopefully her character will be able to pull off a lot of those personality traits and things like that. Not quite sure where she's going to go with it, though. But I have some ideas already kind of percolating. I had a teacher who talked about it was a story that they told about it was a stew, and the story went something like this, and I'm sure I'm going to butcher it, and maybe next time I'll actually look up what the story is. But it was in one of our writing classes, and they discussed the fact that there was a village that they came upon, and the village was having issues with food. There wasn't enough food for everyone. And so this stranger who came upon this village knocked on one of the first doors that they saw. Don't ask me why. I don't know. I don't remember why. But anyways, he knocked on the first door, and he asked the person who answered whether or not they had any food to spare. And the villager was like, "No, we're in the middle of a famine or whatever. All we have is this pot. All I have is this pot. I don't have anything else." And so that's what he was like, "Oh, okay. I think that maybe if we can." I heard about this very special magic. If you meet me in the town square at dusk, we perhaps might be able to gather the magic and be able to bring forth food. And if you bring your pot, then I will promise you that if we are able to bring forth food, that we will that you will get your share. And so the person at the house was like, "Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what else I got to lose? All I have is this pot and no food. So of course I'll bring this pot." So he bids her adieu and goes on to the next house. And the next house was, he knocks on the door, and he asks, when they finally opened up the door, was this older woman, and she was weak, not having a lot of food to eat and things like that. And he's like, "Good day, ma'am. I bring good news." And she goes, "Oh, I don't know about that. There hasn't been any good news in this sorts. In fact, right now, all we have is these potatoes, and nobody's buying the potatoes because nobody has any money. We have a famine right now, and we're all starving. But I'm happy, though, that we at least have some potatoes, but I am getting so sick of these potatoes. I don't want to eat any more potatoes, please. Like, what is your good news? I need some sort of good news." He says, "I have good news. I can promise you that if you come to dusk tonight, you will not eat potatoes. I will bring you a feast. I promise you that we will make a feast." And the man was very, very compelling, and he got the lady to agree to bring her potatoes at dusk to the town square. And so then he goes on and he knocks on the next door. And on the next door, they had a neighbor who was complaining about eating nothing but corn. I bet you see where this is going, right? They're getting tired of eating corn. That's all that they're eating. They're in the middle of this famine. They got corn, but they don't, no money, and not enough money to go and to get any other food. All they have is this corn. Corn's not all that healthy. It's just, yeah, it's not going very well for them. And so he says, "I have good news. I have a magic. We have feast at dusk. Bring your corn, and everybody will eat." And so the townsfolk, he makes his way around the townsfolk, and the townsfolk gather around the town square, and there's the pot in the middle, and the lady who had the potatoes brought the potatoes and put the potatoes in. One with the corn brought in the corn, put the corn in, and he grabbed the other items from the other community, and they built a stew. And that's how the story goes, because if we work together, of course, individually, each of those families were getting really sick of eating the exact same things, but together they were able to make a really fantastic, hearty stew that everybody was able to eat and make it through the famine. So it's one of my favorite stories, because of the fact that the guy that started off had nothing, right? But they were able to go from house to house and get people to work together in order to achieve a common goal. And I like things like that. But what I also like is that, like food, recipes also build on top of things, right? And stories are very much like that as well. You start off with a character or a symbol or things like that, and you just slowly build different items on top of different items, and then soon you have a story, right? Soon you have your stew that has these nice complex flavors in it and things like that. And so writing is very much like that. So even though you might start off just with this one little thing, maybe it is the fact that you're naming a character like me with a water characteristic. But by thinking about some of the other things, like what are types of symbolisms and things like that that can come with a water, that maybe you can implement into their personalities and things like that, then that can be just some extra little seasonings that you're throwing into your stew for your novel. So hopefully I didn't bore you completely to death with my story, but hopefully you enjoyed that. And we will go on to our fourth prompt. Let's see. I need to switch over to the present. All right, yes. All right, prompt. We're on prompt 4 already. My goodness. Prompt 4. So now I'm talking about stew. Now I really want to talk about food. Food is great. Maybe this is going to be, maybe for our fourth prompt, we need to talk about grub. Let's talk food. Let's talk food. Food is fantastic. Food is not just about, it's not about what you're eating. It's not just about where you're eating. It's not just about whether or not you cook the food or whether the characters are cooking it. There's so many things you can say with food. Culturally, there's very distinct things that you can have fun with. You could do an immersion of different cultures by twisting things around. In my story takes place in kind of a separate dimension from the human dimension, but the characters have both, like one of the characters is from the village, but they've spent time with the humans as well, so that they're able to maybe have a merge of different cultures. So that's another fun thing. That's one of my favorite things about food and culture, is trying out different things and mixing things together, and food's great. But also food can also be a crutch, right? Food can be celebratory. It could be, we oftentimes, especially here in America, we surround important events with food. And so there is lots and lots of different things that we can talk about with food. And food can be a symbol in your story as well. There's a lot, like in the story that I was just talking about with the stew and the complex flavors and things like that, you can use food as a tool for your storytelling as well. So for prompt 4, let's go into food. If you want, you can just talk about what your favorite food is, or what you think your favorite food is for your characters. As I said, it's pretty flexible on the different things that you can do with it. So have fun with it. There's no wrong way to nano. And we are going to start 15 minutes. Let's talk grub. Sorry, puppies are in the background snoring. I apologize. me see if I can go ahead and sneak out. Take care of this puppy.
I live in a land where the rich get richer. I live in a land where the poor get poor. I live in a land where the weak get weaker. I live in a land where the more want more.
You can jump this train. Yeah, you can jump that. Right there. There was, cars that didn't have any, like, this one right here. Yeah, like that one. Yeah. This would be a perfect one right here.
Sorry about that. Okay.
Remixing is an art form that demands adaptation. The conditions are set by the sound source the musician chooses to use, and the resulting song is a journey of twists and bends to a new creation. In that process, choices have to be made, questions need to be answered, and old paradigms are challenged.
All right. Am I going to say it again? Yeah, I'm going to say it again. It always goes so quickly. I can't believe it. Ugh. And another good one. I was building on something I didn't even know what I was going to write. Honestly, I didn't. And then I decided that I was going to build on a scene that I referenced earlier. I didn't know that I was going to write a mealtime thing. And then we were talking about food, and I was like, we're talking about food. And so, yeah, then we're going to go, and I had mentioned mealtime earlier, so this just kind of worked out really well. So, yeah, that's a good thing, I think. Yeah, building on some things should be interesting. Might keep it, might not keep it. I don't know. We'll see. If it's terrible, it'll come out in the edits. That's what I love the best about NaNoWriMo. NaNoWriMo is all about just getting out your thoughts, getting out your ideas. A lot of times I'm an idea person for sure, so I'm always constantly trying to get my thoughts sorted. So it works well when it comes to NaNoWriMo because of the fact that once I get it onto the paper, then I'm able to kind of really zero in on the path forward, and you see the elements that are needed in order to create whatever story that's going on. And I suppose I should probably talk about some really amazing things that are going to be going on soon. Most people do not know about this, but we need to be talking more about it because it is really, really, really awesome. And I just need to pull it up real quick. So it'll just be a moment. There we are. All right. So I did want to talk about something that is brand new. We're just starting it out this year, but I'm actually hoping that they'll build on it later on. We ended up, while we were trying to decide what we were going to do with the virtual write-ins, a lot of us that have elsewhere regions have done our versions of virtual nanos. I know last year I was doing mostly things on the forums, especially since we were trying to get used to the new layout of the new website. But this year we're doing a lot of virtual write-ins with not just YouTube, but Twitch and Facebook and things like that. So hopefully people can find their favorite platforms and be able to attend no matter what time it is in day. And so one of the things that we're hoping to build on is something that we are calling 100 hours of writing. And this is actually something that is going to be Twitch specific. And as you can see on the screen, all of these times are in Pacific Standard Time. It starts Friday the 13th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I believe. And we're going to start off with, I believe, Goddess Mabes is the very first Twitch streamer that will be doing the very first 100 hours. And then through from Friday the 13th all the way until the 17th, which is 5 days straight of Twitch streaming, we will have a bunch of different streamers doing virtual write-ins, and we are going to be passing the baton to other streamers. So it's actually going to be pretty fun and pretty interesting, because this is going to be one of the first times that we are doing this type of massive streaming. But the really cool part about this this new event is it doesn't matter where you are in the world, what time you are in the world. There's going to be someone streaming on there. And so if you go to any of the regions that is involved in the 100 hours of writing for Twitch, we'll have a list so that you can go and you can just go onto Twitch and do the usernames and go in and be able to see who's actually who's hosting at that particular time. If you noticed on the schedule, my hours are, I have some really fun ones. I'm going to be on off and on helping out with some modding as well. But it looks like the 2 days that I'm going to be doing it is on the 15th and the 17th. They're pretty early in the morning. So at the one that I showed you, the graphic that popped up, those are in Pacific Standard Time. I will be making a thing and I'll post it in our Facebook and in our regional forum so that way you can see when I'm going to be doing it. But honestly, they're in the middle of the night. So if you're up late on Sunday and you want to come join us, I will be streaming. It is going to be a little different than this stream. Because it'll be me by myself, and so it'll be really fun. I'll see if I can figure out the technical stuff all on my lonesome. I don't know if I'll be able to do it. We'll see. But it's going to be fun because we're going to figure it out together, right? Because you're going to come there. You're going to see me, right? Right? Huh? Please? Come on. Come by. It'll be okay. We can be up all night together. It'll be great. It'll be great. We'll go crazy together. It'll be awesome. So, and I am hoping to get a ton of writing done because it's going to be early hours. And I don't know what it is about the late hours. I tend to be more creative at night. Maybe it is because, and this is just a theory, but since my brain is always going like a million miles a minute all the time, I wonder if because I am more tired at night that my brain isn't able to be as like always on. So maybe that's why I'm able to like, I don't know, come up with some really interesting things. Maybe I'm able to focus a little more. All possibilities. It could be. Sure. It's a theory. It could be true. Who knows? So we should probably go on to our 5th prompt. Yeah, let's do our 5th prompt. We can do another 15-minute one. This one will be fun. I don't know. When I was okay, so my fancy title is the Municipal Liaison for Illinois Elsewhere Region. It's a very fancy schmancy title that's basically, as a volunteer, we kind of put together the events and we come up with various things that we want to do that might be fun and help you guys be a little more actively engaged during NaNoWriMo. You know, we're your cheerleaders and we'll root you on and things like that. But I do not do it without help. And my help comes from the forms of many, many books. Some of the books, though, that I've been using, I probably should go ahead and give a shout out to these people who has them together. This one is Creative Writing 300 Writing Prompts. It's definitely one of my favorites. I use this a lot. There's a lot of really fantastic prompts. I also have this one. This is a really good book for prompts. I don't think you can ever have too many books about prompts. So and there's also online ones. Like I know a lot of the links that I have in the description is for Nano HQ, and they constantly have prompts and sprints and different things going on constantly during November. So I have quite a few times gone over there and was like, oh, okay, let me write write that one down. That's a good one. We certainly like to. I mean, when they're good ideas, they're good ideas. So what can you say? But I changed mine up a little bit. You gotta keep it creative, right? So I can't just beg, borrow, and steal. I try to switch it up just a scotch, so that way it's not the same, right? All right. So for our fifth prompt, I always like to kind of do a found poem. I talk about this a lot, but let me go ahead. For those of you that are new and do not know what found poems are or found art, back when I was a teenager, it was described as things that were like, say, you take a bunch of magazine and clip out the pictures and you put them together and form a collage, or maybe the labels of the soup, and those are found art. Or you collect things like maybe shells from a beach and create something from that. Those are all different types of found art. Some people use like newspapers, and they'll take out like the letters of the newspapers and they'll just take the words out and then create little poems using the words. They're really fascinating. And some of the found art and found poetry that is out there is amazing. So if you want a fun little rabbit hole to go down, I highly recommend it. Some of the art is hit or miss, but I am all about, you do you, whatever that like makes you expressive and makes you happy. Like, that's what we should all be doing, right? Because like, what's the point if you're not trying to like live your best life, right? So in prompt number 5, and I should probably go ahead and share my screen so that way you guys can see, because we are about to get started. All right. Here is our prompt that I'm doing. I just saw this when I literally just opened up the door. I had no idea what my prompt was going to be. I opened up the book on Write the Story. This is one of my favorite ones. And this is the prompt that it says. It says, write the story. Keeping a promise. And the cool thing about this prompt book is that it also includes certain words to use. And it says include the following in your story. And then it just has a list of words. And there's certainly interesting words. All right, let me write them out and then we can talk a little bit about them. They are certainly interesting. I have no idea how this could end up being a story, but again. All right, so it says, write the story. Keeping a promise, include the following in your story. Abolitionist, coyote, forbid, gloomy, keen, lesson, genetics, variable, retort, and mass. Now, since on the prompt 5s for the found poems and the found stories and stuff like that, you could either maybe just keeping a promise is what is really inspiring you to write, or maybe you want to also include the various words, or maybe just one of the words, or something in it just really gets your juices going and you have something to write about. Remember, there's no wrong way to nano. So take these next what we're doing, 15 minutes, these next 15 minutes, and let's go ahead and write the story. Keeping a promise, or including in the following: abolitionist, coyote, forbid, gloomy, keen, lesson, genetics, variable, retort, and mass. And go. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that, guys. Yep. I was just saying Control S. See, I muted myself because the dogs were making noises again and they were snoring, and it was a little hilarious, but a little distracting. So, yeah. So I muted my mic so you guys wouldn't have that wonderful background soundtrack of my puppies. But anyways, I was just saying, don't forget to Control S, save your work. And I guess for a Mac, you'll, what is it? Alt S? I don't know. I don't have a Mac. I have a PC, so I can't speak to that. But whatever the same thing is for saving, do that. That's important. Don't want to lose your work, get halfway through this, and then you're like, what's going on? Lose everything all of a sudden, and then you're, yeah, no. Then you're in the depths of despair. that's me, the depths of despair if I ever lose a whole bunch. Because, oh, that's happened to me so many times. I'll be in the middle of writing something really good, and then something happens. Power goes out, or you trip over something, or someone trips over a cord or something, and you lose all of your work, and you're just like, no. It's the worst feeling in the world. It really is. It's pretty terrible. So yes, don't forget to go ahead and save your work. I am a serial saver. At the end of my sessions, I try not to, when I'm really trying to write a lot, I will put on a timer so that way I know to get up, because otherwise I will sit in front of my computer all day and not move, and that's not very good for your body. You got to move and get going, and if you want your brain like really working, they recommend that you get up and walk around at least every hour. Maybe do a pace around the room and think about whatever you're mulling over. It's pretty, something like that is good to kind of get the juices going or whatever. But I always Control S before I get up, and I try to do that too. If I move to I use Microsoft Word as one of my word editors. But anytime I go to a new page, I always pause and Control S, because I have lost many a writing. And then I'm not because I write by the seat of my pants, I'm not the type of person that if I have to rewrite the scene, it is never going to be the same. I will never write the same scene twice. It'll never happen. And I'll write the same scene 10 times. So yeah, it's devastating sometimes, because it'll be so good. I'll be like, oh, I was working really good on everything, getting some really good emotions, and yeah, no, lose it all. It's terrible. It's the worst thing ever. So I suppose I should probably finish up. We should go over, I should shill our stuff that we have coming up. It's Thursday, so it's towards the end of the week. As I said, we have Twitch coming up, the 100 hours of Twitch. It approacheth on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Every Tuesday and Thursday this month, except for Thanksgiving, we will be doing live streaming on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. The 100 hours of writing is only on Twitch, and it's going to be several different streamers going for 100 hours straight. We have on Wednesdays at 7 p.m., we have our sprints on Discord. If that's your thing, I really love it because it is low key. We just go in and there's no prompts. It's literally just going head to head. You have 15 minutes and go. It's pretty awesome. And on Fridays, we do have at 7 p.m. Central Time, we have our Facebook. We have a regional Facebook group, and we do a thing there. So I hope each and every one of you will come and join us not only on one of those things, but also on NaNoWriMo.org. And come join the Illinois Elsewhere region, and that way we can all have fun together, cheer everyone on, so that maybe we will get to our 50,000 word goal. And so I just want to thank everybody for coming, and I will see you next time.